So we are at 8:30 on the dot, and we're going to start the blab with Aaron Adele
Good
and
evening.
myself. Aaron is going to teach me how I can use social media tools better in the music industry, and that's kind of where this idea came from and where we'd like to go. Earlier today, I guess we'll just jump right in. Earlier today, I created a blog post and tweeted it out, and the musician that I created the blog post about liked that tweet right away, almost instantly. I was super excited as I haven't written a blog post in 4 years. And it was my first blog post, and all of a sudden, oh my God, like this person that I kind of idolize went ahead and liked it right away. And of course, Aaron then put out my fire and doused my flames and rained on my parade, and any other analogy you want to use, and said, yeah, we're going to talk about that on the blab, because as he later explained, well, maybe it wasn't him personally. So what do you think?
It could have been. It very well could have been. But what I wanted to point out was, I think
Hold on, we have to say goodnight.
Oh, okay.
Good night,
baby. She'll be able to watch the replay in the morning if she wants.
Okay, good night.
And then she can learn how to do social media in the music industry as well.
Say bye-bye. Okay. All right. So
seems she's looking forward to it. That's good. Okay.
So far, until it's actually bedtime. There's going to be stories first, and stories are always okay. We can do stories, but then the lights go out and it's night time, and no, I don't want to do sleep. I don't want to do that.
I don't know. I just have a dog.
Yeah. Well,
that's all I know. So back to this tweet. So, yes. The tweet had Bobby Caldwell's name in it,
right?
But not his Twitter handle. And either Bobby Caldwell or whoever looks after Bobby Caldwell's social account found your tweet immediately and favorited it or liked it. Even though his Twitter handle wasn't in it. So what we can learn from this is that Bobby Caldwell is doing a great job at managing his social media, in that he has these feelers out for his own name that is not his Twitter handle. So Bobby, separate word, Caldwell, probably in quotes in a search somewhere, and he's going through and watching all of these mentions of his own stuff and acknowledging it.
Right.
So that's one very important thing needs.
Sorry to interrupt. Does automatically acknowledging something by liking, favoriting, whatever the word is now, is that a good strategy?
I don't think so. Because
does it hurt?
I just don't think. I think it's a little bit lazy to do that, to automate those types of things.
Right.
Because what you'll want to do is you'll want to like some things, retweet other things selectively, and possibly respond to other things, right? But if you set up this bot which just likes every single tweet that mentions your name, I don't see the value in that. I mean, do you see the value in that?
Well, I guess it depends on how big a celebrity you are. I mean, if 100 fans of a particular music artist who aren't as Twitter savvy, get a favorite from their favorite artist because they were talking about them, You know, although I guess the opposite end of that spectrum is somebody could be absolutely trashing you, and just because they said your name, you're going to go ahead and favorite that and like it and put a heart, big red heart on it and say, you know, thanks for trashing me to the public. So I don't know. I guess that's one of the downfalls is maybe you could be favoriting things that are hurting your brand.
Yeah, and now that it's not favorite anymore or a star, now that it's a like and a heart,
yeah, it
could be taken even more out of context if you auto like something that is negative,
mm-hmm.
and it won't make any sense. So I wouldn't automate that kind of stuff at all.
Okay.
You need to have somebody there watching everything specifically and have them respond accordingly, either by a share, a like, or a reply of some sort.
Right. So if it were your account that you were managing, either
mm-hmm.
your own or on behalf of a client, mm-hmm. you would absolutely be watching for it, but you would only then acknowledge the ones that were positive or the ones that were promoting your brand in some way.
It depends on the context. You know, obviously, it's great to acknowledge the positive,
mm-hmm.
but if you're going to ignore all the negative, that might not be such a bad thing too. That might not be a good thing. Ignoring all the negatives, especially as a brand. Like I manage a brand, and if I ignored all of the negatives, that would not work out. I try to respond to everything,
mm-hmm.
whether it's negative or positive.
Well, respond. I guess we're just in the context of liking with the heart. I guess in the context of that, you wouldn't just go ahead and like everything, but you would want to respond personally to a negative comment. Maybe see, hey, I'm sorry your experience was, you know, not what it should have been. Or, you know, you could turn someone around who's just seeing if you're a real person. And
mm-hmm.
and especially in the music industry, you know, sort of, you know, trashing your music video or something like that. And then you respond and say like, hey man, like next time I make a music video, do you want to direct it? And all of a sudden now they're your biggest fan.
Sure.
You know, because now they know that you're watching and you care about your presence on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on from the from that idea of, you know, sort of scanning everything and acknowledging and responding in that way. And actually, before we do that, what tool would you use to do that?
The monitoring?
Yeah, because that's not something that's inherent in the Twitter app itself.
No. Now, a lot of people will swear by the Ferrari of monitoring apps, but if you're only taking the Ferrari to the grocery store, you might not need a Ferrari
mm-hmm.
to unearth your old analogy.
Yeah.
Of me using Ableton Live and only 5% of it.
Right.
TweetDeck, which is a Twitter product,
mm-hmm.
it's fine.
So TweetDeck is free and it's made by Twitter? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. That's all you need. I mean, you can go Hootsuite. Okay. Danielle likes Hootsuite. Okay. She just chimed in there.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I find Hootsuite to be repulsive. The design of it is repulsive.
I might have to open up the floor to Bohemian Memoirs in order to respond to that. I don't know.
Well,
repulsive how?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to open up the seat, she can come in and she can defend herself. But I mean, you know, I'm not against Hootsuite. It's just it's a little bit more than I need, and it's not pretty to look at.
Right. Okay.
Hootsuite is great when she's got a point there. Hootsuite is great when you're monitoring multiple channels, because one thing that Hootsuite has over TweetDeck is that Hootsuite has tabs.
Okay.
And with TweetDeck, you
Yeah.
can only monitor one layer of columns, whereas with Hootsuite, you can monitor multiple layers of columns, which is far better to organize. But again, if you're only monitoring one social account or one topic or one set of topics, TweetDeck is fine, and I use TweetDeck.
So in the case of an artist or an artist manager who's only got one product, one person, the product was supposed to be in quotes there, and I missed it. But if you have one artist, or you are the artist yourself, then TweetDeck is probably all you need. You're just going to have one layer of things looking for content that's relevant to you and what your message is. If you're a label or an artist management agency, you're going to want to use something more like Hootsuite, where you have multiple tabs across the top for each one of your products, each one of your brands, and then the content filtered in columns for each one of those brands that's relevant to those brands. What, as an example, what would you maybe do in those columns? Obviously, your first one is going to be your timeline.
No.
Okay.
I don't read the timeline.
Right. So you don't have your timeline in Hootsuite at all, or in TweetDeck in your first column at all.
The timeline is actually the most useless piece of Twitter that you could ever look at. Okay. What you want to do is you want to, and I'm going to read this right off the screen because I got a genius here in the chat. Bohemian Memoirs. Okay. Benefits of the columns include tracking multiple streams. Example, a hashtag column, a search column, mentions, ongoing contest giveaways of tickets. Why are you not saying this all of yourself in here? I guess you don't have a microphone, but yes, all of these things. The timeline is people you follow and who you follow. As a label, the timeline is great if you're an individual person, but I think the timeline is useless if you're a business, or if you're more than just an individual person. You have to be searching for specific things, monitoring specific things, responding to specific things. Okay. Just responding willy-nilly to whatever's in your timeline doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep. So
this is why I use lists.
Right. So let's get into that a little bit, because I was going to say, just for the practical application of this, as it pertains to music promotion, let's use the example of one artist. Let's say you've got a list. In your first column, you're going to have your hashtag column, right? So everything that has the hashtag of maybe your album name or your artist name without spaces in it, or what have you. Then you have another one that's just searching for Bobby Caldwell, your artist name with a space in it.
Yes.
Now, with TweetDeck, can you do multiple searches within one column?
Yeah, you can. Okay, give me an example, like Bobby Caldwell and something else.
And hashtag Bobby Caldwell. Can you do both of those searches?
Sure. Yes, you can do that.
Column? Right. So you would have everything that pertains to your current project, or a running search for everything that pertains to your current project in column one. Okay.
Yeah.
What's column two?
Okay? So if that's column one, column two, like, I'm not sure I'm following. Column one, column two. Like, you actually want me to tell you what the order of the columns is?
Well, not necessarily. I just want a specific example, a specific game plan for this example. And it doesn't have to be.
So what you're asking me is what do I think Bobby Caldwell is doing? What does his tweet deck look like?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're Bobby Caldwell, set up your tweet deck.
Okay. So Bobby Caldwell has a bunch of albums. One of them is called Cool Uncle, correct?
Which is also the artist name for this release. So it's because
okay.
it's a collaboration.
Okay. So I'd have all of the releases.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the label, but the label might be, attached to the Bobby Caldwell search.
Mm-hmm.
What I might also do is monitor other Twitter accounts that are in like alliance with the label, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
What else? And then I would have lists. So if I found somebody that was frequently talking about Bobby Caldwell, I might put them on a list.
Okay.
Just to sort of see what else they're talking about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're talking about if they're talking about me, Bobby Caldwell, a lot, then I'm kind of interested in what they also like, if they like me so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and what other communities maybe?
Yeah,
you can
like what are my fans? What are my fans comparing me to?
Mm-hmm.
Or what are my fans also like?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, if I was on tour, I might throw in some geographical searches in there. If last night I played at venue X, then what I would do is I would set up a column searching for photos and videos and check-ins from last night at this venue.
Right.
And I might interact with those too, because if I do a live show at a venue and then I go and check all of last night's tweets at that venue,
mm-hmm.
then I'm likely to find photos of me on stage, right?
Yep.
So I would probably want to set something like that up as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's important is if I have bobbycaldwell.com,
mm-hmm.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a column in TweetDeck that is bobbycaldwell.com, so that anytime anyone ever posts a link to my website in Twitter but doesn't mention my name or my Twitter handle, I'll find it and I'll be able to interact with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have any other websites that are associated with me, either like my label page, mm-hmm. or, if I have a MySpace page.
You couldn't even say it with a straight face, could you?
I could put my MySpace URL in there. I meant to say Bandcamp, but I drew a blank and I went back 10 years. I don't know what happened. I tend to do that. So I could put my Bandcamp, if I have a Bandcamp page, I could put the URL for that in.
And I think we tried this experiment earlier, and even if you use a link shortener like Bitly or
mm-hmm.
Owly or any of those,
mm-hmm.
It sees through that.
Always,
and it will actually
always.
It will still see the resulting web page that you've put into your search, put into your filter.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to give a shout out to our guest in the chat here, who's probably not going to join us because she doesn't have a microphone or whatever. And it's Bohemian Memoirs, and it's Danielle. And Danielle unintentionally introduced me the other day to the genre of trap music because she put it in her profile on Twitter.
I see that, trap enthusiast.
Yes. Yeah. And I thought, what is trap? So I went and looked it up, and I realized that this is like a genre of music that I did not know about. And I think that genres, especially very, very specific ones, are quite interesting. But this is it's like an offshoot of rap, but it's from a certain part of the United States. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you used an example of the one that everybody was around doing the videos of.
Harlem Shake.
The Harlem Shake is the
Harlem
example
Shake,
you used,
yeah.
which to me is like 2 years old at this point. And as a trend, it's 2 years old. And of course, the song itself predates even that. But something that's more current, at least within the last 6 months, I would say. And of course, you know, recorded music is always around a lot longer than the public is aware of. But at least in the last 6 months is Fetty Wap, who I've connected with years ago. A couple of guys on Twitter who are social media guys who work with him on precisely that, on his social media. So a guy out of Vegas and Demont Daniel and Brandon Hampton are also very vocal about trap music. I don't know. I guess it's kind of slowed down and electronic, and it comes from kind of a trip hop, like Tricky and that sort of vein of music. And then it's just modernized and with hip hop lyrics and you gotta have a Glock in your Rari.
So I kind of want to segue here.
Nostradamus.
We're talking about artists, labels, hashtags, social media, and all of this.
Yes.
And so when I looked at the hashtag that Danielle provided,
I'm going to stop doing this one of these days, but I don't know when.
Yeah. So I looked at the trap hashtag at first. And let's just say that what I found when I clicked on that hashtag, it made me realize that that's probably not what she was talking about. So I had to go and look it up.
Right.
The moral of the story is here. You have to be very careful when you use a hashtag.
Yeah. Because you don't know
describe something.
Who's usurped it.
Because when someone says that they're a trap enthusiast, and then you click on the trap hashtag, I don't know if you're doing this in the background.
I can't.
But your eyes are going to bug out when you find what you're going to find. I don't even want to mention what you're... Yeah, see?
No, I'm not. I didn't do anything. I just thought I'd give you the reaction that you were looking for. Yeah.
Sometimes hashtags get hijacked, or they have double meanings.
Yeah, or they were around long before you and your brand, and you think that you've been clever and you're going to use this hashtag, and you don't do any research beforehand, and all of a sudden you're trying to mix your like one tweet every 3 hours into a whole community of people sharing less than G-rated stuff.
Which brings me to so this brings me to another point, and that is how to build your bio on Twitter. Now, there's a great website out there that you should check out sometime called Follower Wonk.
WONK?
Yeah, .com. And that website, what that allows you to do is it allows you to put in a search term and it searches bios. So if you're looking, let's say you're looking for people to follow who are holistic nutritionists in Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
Just as an out there example. So Follower Wonk allows you to search for people in an area
Mm-hmm.
by what they put in their bio as their location.
Right.
And then it'll search the terms holistic nutritionist for you in people's bios, and it'll bring back all of the people that are holistic nutritionists, or to put that in the bio.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads me to hashtags in bios. They're kind of not necessary for individual words. If you belong to an organization that has its own unique hashtag, or if you're going to be
An event
coordinator that has a specific hashtag like Alzheimer's Walk 2015 or something like that, that's a good thing to put in your bio. But I would be very careful with putting generic words with hashtags, because at the end of the day, people are just going to search for the word sans hashtag. So you're okay to just put individual words without hashtags in your bio. And Follower Wonk is a.
Are the
sorry, go ahead.
hashtags clickable?
Stop it!
Are they clickable
You're doing the thing with your hands again.
in the bio?
The hashtags?
Yes,
They are.
but they're not like when other things borrow them, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm clicking on Danielle's
Like if you're gonna put,
here, and I can't click on anything in the bio. It's not clickable to then bring up another search thing. So it's kind of
in TweetDeck you can. I don't know about Twitter for iPhone.
okay.
Some places you can click on hashtags. Some things you can't.
Right.
Same with @ replies. So if you put in your bio, married to so and so,
Right. Then people can go
and you put that person's user handle. You can click
person.
on that user handle to get to that person's profile if you do with the @ sign and all of that. Twitter for iPhone, yes. Hashtag and @ sign are clickable, says Danielle. So we've just verified that.
All right.
What are you, Brad? What are you trying to do it in where it's not working?
This Blab.
Yeah, Blab's not a Twitter product. We're
But
talking
it's
about
bringing
Twitter
up a Twitter
here.
bio. I know.
No, it's not. It's not. It's bringing up a Blab bio, which gets copied over from Twitter. Very big difference there. Okay. So when you first sign into Blab, you sign in with Twitter, and it imports all your current Twitter stuff, your picture, your bio, and all of that. But keep in mind that Blab is in beta, very unreliable. It's going to behave differently. And we're not talking about Blab. We're talking about Twitter. So hashtags and @ mentioned names are clickable in native Twitter products. Okay?
Excellent. We have 2 minutes.
Follower Wonk
is
a great way for you to process in your own mind what you want to be known for. So if you put yourself in the seat in front of Follower Wonk and you think, okay, I'm going to search for this, this, and this, and then you start thinking, hey, I want to be known for this. Like I want to be able to be searched in a site like this for this topic. And that's how you build your bio. Okay. Mm-hmm. Your bio is a little bit
sparse.
It's a little sparse. You say music guy. Okay, that's very general.
Yeah.
Burlesband
is not a big thing.
Is not a big thing.
Nobody's searching for that.
Right. Well, maybe somebody is, but if you went to Follower Wonk and searched for Burlesband, and you got like 200, 300, 400 entries, then you may be part of a community and you could just leave it there. Why don't you explain to Danielle what a Burlesband is?
Well, my wife is a member of the Canadian Burlesque Hall of Fame. And when you marry a showgirl, they don't all go by that categorization. But when you marry into burlesque, you basically give up a lot of your yeah, exactly. Not somebody married in Burlington, Ontario, no. But somebody who's married to a burlesque dancer and has given up a lot of their autonomy to the to supporting the many suitcases full of things that have to be lugged, the chairs that have to be set up and torn down, the countless hours of makeup and hair, et cetera, et cetera. So you are fully supportive of the craft, and that's what a burlesque is.
I wish I could give like more than 1 star for the Burlington, Ontario.
Well, I mean, if she jumps in, we can give her all the props.
I'd give that 300 props if I could.
I know, right? And on that note, it is 9:00, so let's go off the record. We'll cap it.
Let's go off the record.
But we can carry on, and people can jump in.
Let's do that. So did we cover? I think we covered more than enough.
We may have to do a part 2. Depending on the reaction and if people found this helpful. So if you found this helpful, by all means, let us know. He's at Aaron Adele. I'm at Brad Macri. Get at us.
Yeah. So go off the record, and we'll continue the conversation here.
Conversation always continues.
Right.
When you go